Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Lilu Nishmas Imi Moirosi Ruspas Mordechai, and Lilu Nishmas, my grandmother. Today's the yard side Chaya Brindel Bas Yosef. The other day, we were talking about stitching in the jacket, and I pulled out this jacket that I received from Greystone. Donnie Rosenberg from Greystone donated $25,000 to this year. So Yishkoyach Donnie.
Was you plugged this jacket?
Nah, we're partners. But Dan Rubinoff went to him and said, hey, Dan Rubinoff, I also showed his picture that day. Whatever, the whole beautiful. Be'ezer Hashem, we're partners in real estate. We're partners now in this. And Be'ezer Hashem, we're going to be partners. He's going to start doing the daf, Be'ezer Hashem. Got to get him to the daf.
Free jackets for everyone?
If he does the daf,
free jackets.
The opposite. You have to give him so he doesn't want to do it. Let's read an email here. Here's another person that's stepping it up. We have A. Belsky. Thank you. I've been learning the daf with you, and you make it feel like a one-on-one basis watching on YouTube with all the extras posters that you use and make learning so easy. It's been decades since I made a siyum on the entire Masechta. I love your positive energy every day and making it flow so easy. I wish you'd take a little bit more time in Daf Beis. I've been hooked since I started Masechtas Taanis. I've replayed the story about your son many, many times. I guess he's talking about the first day of Taanis, the first few minutes of Masechtas Taanis. It really hit home. I sent it to many people. My son was also OTD. And then at age 32, he did not wake up from sleep on Yontiv of Sukkos. But he was a big tzaddik. He said many times in Shir, it's what's inside that counts. He did a lot of chesed every day. And this is why we sponsored Masechtas Chagig in his memory. So here's Abe Belsky. He sponsored $10,500 to Masechtas Chagiga. It doesn't ding me. Donnie Rosenberg dinged me 25 grand. I'm very happy about it. Hopefully. His 25 grand, I have to give 25 grand. The 18 grand, this is for Chagiga. I'm potter, but I really hope I get all the way up to that 100. No, he gave it already. It was before I announced it. My parents are survivors. My father's a Talmud of Rebbe Ber, and of course, it's important to him only to build Torah and learn in America. So I want to be your ambassador for MDY. And helping you do your amazing job. I'm getting people to learn. Something like that. Basically, Reb A. Belsky is sponsoring all the Gemaras now at Gourmet Glad in Cedarhurst. So check out Gourmet Glad in Cedarhurst and grab your free Gemara. Masechtas Chagiga is starting this Friday. That's it. It's, we had all these fun Masechtas. Yuma, Sukkah, Taanis, Megillah, Moed Katan. What else? Rosh Hashanah, Chagiga, 26 days only. Don't tell anybody about the end of the Masechta. The whole beginning of the Masechta is easy, fun, short daf. I got the whole thing. You can make a siyum in 26 days. Get your friend. Don't. And also, ding me. Oh, by the way, if somebody wants to donate, be like a Belsky and you don't have to do that amount. But any amount, you can do it in payments. You can do it in credit card. We'll take it over the year. You want to give 5 grand, 10 grand over the year, over 5 years. Contact us and we'll put your name in Masechtas Yevamos. We could still stick it in Masechtas Yevamos. It's going to go. Today's the last day that we have to give them the final names and everything. By the way, I need some of your names. Some of the guys from the 10, I think we're missing. So okay, we'll talk afterwards. I want to put them in. You don't know who they are? This is from my almost brother, Yossi Erman, and his sons on the way to, I don't know what country, but he said they're going to where? Romania? They went to ski in Romania. The country of Loyeg Larash, he says, because, anything that has to do with skiing disturbs me slightly, but it's great stuff. Let me just read this real quickly. I like this email a lot. It's from Mendy Ullman. I want to let you know that MDY has hit New Haven and is expanding full force in the Chabad community. I'm a Yungaman here in Chabad Koil. Not only have I been inspired by Yom Levi's Shir to learn daf myself, but I made it my shlichus to get everyone in New Haven to join me. I'm going to order a bulk box from MDY. Order your boxes, bulk. especially here in Eretz Yisrael. We've got a lot of extra boxes, I think. We're making a campaign to get everyone hooked onto your amazing shir. If anybody knows of a yeshiva that wants to hear about Daf Yomi, let me know. Here in Eretz Yisrael, do it. We'll knock it out. Brisk, Mir, anything. One of the major hurdles I've heard from many Chabadniks have with Daf Yomi is that the Rebbe already said daily shurim for his Chassidim in Chitas and Rambam Mishnayous Torah. So one can argue, if we already struggle with keeping up with those shurim, which are a must for us, how could we voluntarily take on another commitment, which also probably causes slack off of these shurim? All I can say to all my fellow Chassidim is as follows. Doing the daf has not only been so enjoyable in its own right, and has added a great deal to my life, it has actually helped me in solidifying my other shurim commitments without any compromise, 100%. When you do Daf Yomi, it teaches you the consistency in every part of life. You start working out better. You start many things. Shnai Mikra, I say it all the time. I don't believe for one second the Rebbe would tell someone not to learn more Torah, especially in the manner that Rebbe does with achdus, camaraderie, and simcha. Wishing you much aslach in your unbelievable shlichos. May Hashem bench you and your family for your continuous nefesh, Klal Yisrael, all the best. Men the Omen. If you could get in touch with Waterbury, we'd love to join them for the Siyum on Moed Katan. I guess the next to Waterbury, see a picture of one of the Koil Chevra doing the daf. Here it is. And now we could go to today's daf. Shkoyach. What we do have to do, the sponsors. Don't forget, MDYSiyum.com for all your local Siyumim. I think there's 10 there right now, maybe more. I didn't check. The Koilol is sponsored this month by Mr. Anonymous, Lilu Nishmas, Chaya Bas Yosef. Maseches Moed Katan. Oh, is that my grandmother, Chaya Bas Yosef? Chaya Brandel Bas Yosef. Very similar name. Okay. Maseches Moed Katan is dedicated by the... You never know with this person. Maybe you did it. No, I doubt it. It is dedicated by the Kessler and Davis. How do you know? Refuah shleima from Miriam Esther Bas Devora bekorov. Maseches Moed Katan is dedicated by the Kessler and Davis families. Refuah shleima from Miriam Esther Bas Devora bekorov. Michael and Jayme Benmeleh in memory of Devora, Faige, Bat Shmuel, and Menachem Mendel Ben Elchanan. May the neshamas have an Aliyah, Moshiach shekam bekorov. By Jonathan Eltes. In honor of Jonathan Austein for introducing me to MDY, Dovid Posner. What is it? Posner. From Thornhill, who now learns Mishnayous Yomi because of MDY, and of course the rebellion for all you do. Reb Shalom Baruch Yudo Ben Rav Yosef Chiel Michal Yidi Leibowitz Z. And MDY Los Angeles. Lilu Nishmas there Tova Bas Racham, and mother of 5 little children, who was killed in the car accident from Los Angeles. For shleima to her husband Eliyahu Shmuel Ben Leah. For shleima the Shlomo HaKohen Ben Mendel, Nishmas Beryl Bas Moshe Levi. I don't know what this means. To a queen who passed away yesterday in Manchester. Okay, queen, a king, Beseder. Huh? Ready? Oh, weiter. We got to do today's. Oh, but one last picture without any story. This is from Yisrael Goldstein. A picture in the airport at 5:00 in the morning. Somebody doing the daf. An artistic view. Beautiful. Okay. Today is Daf Chof Ches, and we have the schus of starting today's Daf on Daf Chof Zayin Amud Aleph. Says the Gemara, Barishoina. We're talking about what used to happen and what they instituted instead. The wealthier people would come out on a special aron, on a dargosh like we had, whether it's leather, not. Va'anim, Daf Chof Zayin Amud Beis, B'chlicha, sponsored by Moshe Horn. Schus for Woody, Chewy, and the Kale twins, and sponsored in honor of myself, wishing myself Hatzlacha in all my self's endeavors, both in Gashmias and Ruchnias. Vayanim is Baishim, it wasn't nice to the Anim. Why did they come out with such a silly bed? That's why everybody gets a beer so that we don't embarrass anybody. Someone who died from intestinal disease, they would put not deodorant, they would put like some sort of good smelling incense. Okay, fine, whatever you want to call it. That spray stuff that you put in the bathroom. Those who had intestinal disease realized they're soon going to die, and they're going to soon put it underneath them. So everyone gets the incense. if a woman died when she was a nida, so everything she touched beforehand was tamei, so it's very embarrassing. It's interesting, but nevertheless, they felt that there was a special category for the nida, and they felt that abusha iskinu shiu madbilim al gabi kol anoshim b'bnei kvodim shel nidas chayes. So any woman who died, there would be toivel all the kalim for tuma, as if everybody had a tumas nida. To start off with, everybody had a ziva, a certain flow that comes from a disease. Again, the same idea. They felt that they're in another category. They're just regular people that have tumah. It's going to go away. No. The funeral is a whole different procession. We have to take all the kalim and be toivel. So they were embarrassed. Hiskinu shiyu madbim agav akol. Because of the covet of the live ones. A very strong lashon. It was so expensive, cost prohibitive, to bury somebody. The tachrichim was super expensive that it was more painful than the actual death, so to speak. They would take the body as is, drop it and run, and let the community deal with it. He treated himself lightly, not with such chashivas. Somebody like Miriam Leah would be buried in beautiful tachrichim. And what's the idea of being buried with beautiful tachrichim? To show that you believe in Tchias HaMesim. You put a lot of money into it, nice suit, you're going to Olam Emes, you're going to be up soon. So everybody, he went with the cheapest tachrichim possible, like we do today, and everybody saw and took his advice, and they all started burying themselves with pishtan. Forget it, it's like takanas. Like instead of doing, a big talker than I am, instead of doing these fancy chasanas, everybody does takana chasana, and everybody feels the wealthy and the poor, they all have the same chasana, everything is good, and everybody saves money. It's a waste of money. So Rashi says, canvas. It's the cheapest of the cheap. Bar zuzah that only costs a zuz. They say that usually the tachrichim would cost 1,000 zuz, and now it's 1,000. You hear? You hear, Judah? Yeah, it's one zuz, Judah. Thanks. So we said that we don't take the ara and the mita and put it in middle of the street on Chal HaMoed for a speidim. However, at the end of the day, when it comes to the Talmud Chacham, we have to give a speidim even on Chal HaMoed. Purim, and certainly on Chanukah and Purim. Why? Because Chanukah and Purim are the Rabbanans. They don't have the same. We're on the last Daf of Moed Katan, so let's remember. If one thing came out of the whole Masechta, what are we going to take out of the whole Masechta? We don't work on Chal HaMoed. Work on Chal HaMoed only in very, very extreme situations is mutter. On Chanukah and Purim, you could work. So right there, you see the difference between Chanukah and Purim and Chal HaMoed. But in our days, they say we don't really have the true Talmud Chacham at the time of the Gemara, so there's no espeidim on Chal HaMoed. But on Purim and Chanukah, there are espeidim. And there's a machlokes rishonim whether or not there's avelos b'far hesya on Purim. This is when the Talmud Chacham is right in front of us, and you maspid him. You don't go out and do some sort of atzeres and gather people like a lot of times we have here in this community when a big Talmud Chacham is nifter, so they gather people by the shloishim. You don't do that if he's not in front of you. As the Gemara, lo eini v'ho Rav Kahana savdi l'Rav Zvid min arda on Chal HaMoed. Rav Kahana gave a hesped to Rav Zvid. Where was Rav Zvid nifter? In Arda. Where did he give the hesped? Bepum Nahara, in a different place. He wasn't there. So you see, interesting. They would do a speidim in different cities because they couldn't get there. They would do a hesped in the day of the ptira. They wouldn't wait for shloshim, right then and there. So on Chal HaMoed, on the day of the ptira, you could do a hesped. Amr Ula. Hesped alev. When it says the word hesped, it's referring to, they used to go like this, they used to make a lot of noise, You see sometimes at the kotel, they go, woo, woo, different things. So hesped is banging on the heart. D'chsiv al shodayim soivdim. Tipuach. What does tipuach mean? Bayad, clapping, like making sounds like that. Kilos. The word kilos is referring beregel. You bang on the floor. If you're wearing a sandal, this a lot of Zionistic people that have sandals have to listen to this halacha. It's very dangerous to bang your foot with a sandal on the floor. It could, basically, it's like a slipper. You try to go real hard on the floor, and as you hit the floor, the slipper shoots out. Your foot hits the ground, and what happens? You break a bone. It's dangerous. Ovel kivin shenina roishoy. Nina roishoy. He goes like this. Shuv ein menachem rishoyim leishav etzlo. A few pshatim here. One pshat is that the shiva is kind of over, but the way I understand it is, as people are talking, and the guy had enough of this guy, the clown in front of him is just yapping away. So he goes like this, because he can't say, okay, have a great day, because he's an aval. So he does with his head a little bit, and that's the sign, get up and go. I said this before, but I have to say it now. One of my favorite videos of all time, and that's only because I sat Shiva, is called Shtick Yeshivish people do at Shiva, or say. Shtick Yeshivish people say at Shiva. And I got to tell you some of the lines they have there. One of them is, Kenai Nahara. I mean, how many people had to hold the Aron? I mean, he was very heavy when he was alive, so you can imagine. And one of them was, what bus was it? The 17, the 17. Oh, so he's jaywalking. Okay. But at least you could say that he met a Kodesh Baruch Hu by accident. The point is, Ayin Sham, there's a lot of stuff. Oh, another one. I just came from a shiva house. So you looking for shidduch? and it's not even far from the truth. The reason I thought it was so funny is because people say the most ridiculous things at shiva. I don't know what it is. They come and they say shtusim va'avalim.
Because they don't like the silence, that's why.
They don't like silence and they're uncomfortable, so they just come up with stuff. And some of the stuff is noira v'ayim, I can tell you from experience. They'll ask you if the house is for sale. I heard she drove a nice car, so Rabbi Isai, chill. And I'll say this again. One of the most powerful things I read was about Rabbi Pam. There was a couple that Leilenu lost a young child. And they said that the biggest nichum avelim they had during Yeshiva was Rabbi Pam. He walked in, didn't say a word. He burst out in tears, cried and cried. He got up and walked out. That's the biggest nichum avelim. So, Dail Hakim B'Remiza, Ayin in that video, it's not a joke. It's funny, and I don't like the title so much. Shivish, whatever, the whole thing. But there's a lot of emes in that video. Oh, did you check the tachrichim that they don't have shatnez? No, it's not a joke. It's not a joke. My cousin, they had to unbury him to get rid of the tachrichim. It's not even, I'm not. Okay. Anyway, you get the point. Those guys were good. I mean, it's 10 years old, half the people they watch is like, so I don't get the joke. No, it's so close to MS that it's funny. Zog the Gemara. So Roisha, we're talking about Roisha going like this. It's a sign. Stop talking. When the Nasi, the Galadar, the one in charge of all of Klal Yisrael, walks in, everybody stands up. Besides the Aval himself, there's no kavod. Aval doesn't give kavod yet. That's what I was saying yesterday. That's why when Reb Chaim Kanievsky came in, I wasn't mechuyev to stand up. But if you do stand up, it's okay. So one of the pshatim and the famous thing is you don't tell an Aval to sit down. It seems like you're saying to him, yeah, sit. It means like, oh, good. It's good that you're an Avelos. So you don't say that. Omer Rav Yehuda Omer Rav Aval Yom Rishon also lecha lechem mishaloi. Aval on the first day, and this is a halach we had, cannot eat his own food. Lechem is referring to the meal. The sudas havra. How do we learn it? Because the Torah tells you Cheskel, Kishborch tells you Cheskel, v'lechem anoshim lo yiseicha. As we know, everything HaKadosh Baruch Hu told you Cheskel, He said, wear tefillin. You don't wear tefillin. He said, do this. You don't, everything that's, because it was dafka to Yecheskel and everybody else is the opposite. So he tells Yecheskel, don't eat other people's food. In other words, we are all mechuyev to eat other people's food by the Sudas Avra. Rabbi v'Rav Yosef, when they were avelim, mechalfi sudasayu la'adadi. If Rabbi was an avel, he would take food from Rav Yosef, and when Rav Yosef was an avel, he would take food from Rabbi. Bam Rav Yudom Rav, in the name of Rav, meis be'ir kol b'nei asur b'asiyas malacha. Everybody has to stop working. Says Taisvas over here, asur b'asiyas malacha, mashma de b'talmud Torah shari, that a person who's learning has a header. So, as we're going to see in a second, if there's a Chaver Kedisha that takes care of the dead, then you don't have to stop working. But if there's nobody taking care of the dead, everybody's mechuyev to take care of this dead person, so everybody stops working besides those who are learning Torah. Rav Hamnuno Ikla Ledroimta, Ledroimaisa, whatever you want to call it. He went to this, if you're Ashkenazi, you say Dremaisa. If you're in Bavel, you say Dremaita. Shama Kol Shipura de Shichva. He heard there was a sound, there was a siren. Oh, somebody died. So he saw people still going on with their business. Oh, you're all in Chayrim. What? You didn't hear the horn? So either it means the different types of people, there's Hasidim, there's Litvaks, there's the Svardim, Ashkenazim, they all take care of their own, don't worry about it. Or there's a real Chaver Kedisha. There's a company that takes care of it so we can continue working. Okay, I'm undoing the Chayrim. You're not in Shamta anymore. This is a very serious line here. If a person cries too much on the dead, in other words, he goes past the allotted time, and we're going to see what that is. It's not that long. A terrible tragedy could occur to him. Why? Because it looks like he has a taina on the din. Akash Baruch Hu had a din, Akash Baruch has a cheshbon. We don't know Akash Baruch Hu's cheshbonos. We'll never know. But a person has a taina, and I said this, and I don't know if it's nice, but there was a terrible tragedy in the community. I remember people that I thought were maminim and had been talking, they were like, I don't understand Hashem. How could Hashem do such a thing? These are words that are very dangerous. You have to understand that we don't understand. We can't have a taina. Very scary story. Needs a lot of understanding. There was a woman who lived next to Rav Huna. She had 7 sons. One of them died. She cried too much over him. So Rav Huna said, it's not a good idea what you're doing. It's not the right thing. She didn't listen to him. Obviously, it's hard to tell somebody, oh, it's not funny, don't laugh. It's not sad, don't cry. But a person sometimes has to, you see, like there's a mace on Shabbos. The halacha is you don't cry, but I'm sad. Sometimes you have to overcome that.
Cry for the summon, for the almana, not necessarily for the.
Okay, depends what you do. Depends why you're crying. If you miss the person, you miss I don't know. Different things, different places. That's why I said you have. This is not at face value. Shalach lo itzais smutov viloi soves zvatelidach. Go start getting by tachrichim for your next son. L'chayra, it wasn't a curse. He's giving her good advice. You're not doing the right thing. I'm telling you, stop right now. It's not going to work out for you. Says the Gemara, umisukulu. At the end of the day, all 7 died. L'soif omaylo, stop. I'm telling you, stop. Timush zvatel nafshech. You're going to have to get tachrichim for yourself. Umisa, and she died. Al tifkul ameis v'loy tanuduloi. Don't cry for a mace and don't shake your head. It says in the pasuk, don't cry too much. There's a shir. Okay, so what's the shir? The first 3 days, as we always said throughout the Masechta, are the most extreme, the biggest part of the Avelis, V'shiva, Lahesped, and 7, first payday. Then you take it down a level, it's 30 days, you can't press the clothing, can't take a haircut, what, you think I don't know? You think I don't care about it? Nobody cares about human beings more than HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and I know what I'm doing. It says in the pasuk, we just saw the pasuk. what does it say a second later in the same pasuk? B'chu v'chay lahaylech ki lo yashavayid. Cry. It starts off, al tifku, don't cry. B'chu b'chay, go cry. What's going on here? So because of this problem, the Gemara has a pshat. That is a special situation, a person who dies without children. Someone like that you should cry for, because he has no continuation. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi wouldn't go to the Aval's house, the Azal b'lei bani. If somebody died without children, then he would go, the Chsiv, he doesn't have a continuation. He won't see the future. Ravuna Amar Ze Sha'avar Avera V'Shanaba. So he learns Lo Yashuv Oid is talking about tshuva. When a person dies without doing tshuva, that's a terrible thing. For him, you have to cry, Nebuch. He's not going to make it to where he needs to go. He needs to go to Gan Eden, and he can't get there. How's he going to get there? Thank you, Gershon. There's no buzzer. So if a person repeats the Avera over and over and he didn't do tshuva, it's a terrible thing. For him, you should cry. Ravuna Tamei, because Ravuna goes according to his own shita, the famous Gemara. If a person does an Avera and he repeats it, hutralai, it becomes mutter to him. Hutralai. So what it really becomes mutter. It's as if once a person gets used to doing an Avera, he thinks there's no Isser. And a person like that doesn't do tshuva. If he doesn't do tshuva, you must cry for him. Omer Rebbe Levi, Ovel shloisha yamim rishonim yiras hatzim kilu cherev menachas lei ben shtei yirechoisav, between his legs, very sensitive area, or between his shoulders. There's a girsa here. So Taisa says, where do I see it here? It says the Yerushalmi, Echad Menachem Shemeis, the last words in Taisus on the page. Echad Menachem Shemeis Yidagu Kolachem. There's a concept when somebody dies, and Taisus says right before that, it's like a pile of stones. Your family is a pile of stones. You remove one from the bottom, everything starts shifting, and therefore everybody in the family should start worrying. You have to be careful with everything you do and start doing tshuva, because there's like a sword that's right there ready to get you. From 3 to 7 days, so it's not by your neck, it's not by your legs, it's in the corner looking at you, staring at you, wanting to harm you. What's mikam ve'elach? It's like going in the marketplace. It's taisvis, 12 months. The Nemuki Yosef here says, the famous thing, Noilad Zachar, then it's Nisrapa Kol HaMishpacha. There's even before 12 months, if there's a male boy, the male child that gives some revach to the whole family. Says the Gemara, you don't put women in the street because of their dignity and honor. Amri bit Nardod. They said in Nardod, Lo Shanu, Tav Chavches, Elachaya. We're talking about a woman who just gave birth, and there's a lot of dam. It's not a problem to put a regular woman. Says the Gemara, Rebbe Lozo Omar, Afilu Shar Hanoshim D'chsiv Atomish Sham Miriam, Vatikaver Sham. Miriam, who was not giving birth, they buried her immediately. Samach Lamisa, Kvura. So the Taisus Yontif says there, very interesting, that it seems like there's a pasuk. Vatomas Sham Miriam Tikaver Sham. So he says it's actually Issa Deraisa. The Gemara, the Mishnah says it's covered of. It's time of the cry. He says interesting. Ayin Sham. In other words, it's more than just a minhag. It's more of an isser. Momer Velazar, Af Miriam Beneshika Mesa. So there are 6 people. Let me see if I have it. These are the 6, very easy to remember. These are the 6 people that died Misas Neshika. HaKadosh Baruch Hu kissed them to death, so to speak. Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Moshe, Aaron. And now we're going to ask, where do we know Miriam? By Moshe Rabbeinu it says Al-Pi. Af Miriam Beneshika Mesu. Asya Sham Mi Moshe. By the way, yesterday, we missed it a little bit. Yesterday was Zayin Adar. We made an announcement. Here's Moshe Rabbeinu on this daf. Sponsored the whole thing. Why doesn't it say that Miriam got al pi Hashem? It's not proper to say Hashem kissed her. Why does Parsha, the sugya of Paraduma, is that when somebody touches a dead person, he's tamei, the only way to become tar is by having a paraduma, shechting it, burning it, taking the ashes and sprinkling it on the person that becomes tamei. The actual death of a tzaddik brings a kapara. Maybe, huh? Kapara alecha. Thank you. Shkoyach. What's his name is going to take that and play it in his house over and over. Harry Shalom. Yeah. Kapara alecha. Harry Kapara alecha. Fine. Take that.
Put some energy into it.
Kapara alecha, Harry. Kapara alecha. Maybe you can say pshat. The paraduma is very interesting. Paraduma, you don't shecht it in the Beis HaMikdash. It's outside. It's outdoors. Har Zeisim. Yet, without a paraduma, we have nothing. We can't go into the Beis HaMikdash. We're all tamei. We're all tamei mesim. So you need the paraduma. That's why paraduma is next to Miriam. Miriam, even though she never made it into the Beis HaMedrash, so to speak, without the women, we have nothing. This is for the 3 women that watched this year. Zok the Gemara Toner Rabbana. Who? And Ricky, the 2-year-old, yeah. Toner Rabbana. Omer Abelazar. Lama nitzmach hamisas Aaron the big dekuna. Why in the world, as soon as Aaron died, there was a tzivuk, take off the clothing, put on the clothing, he's dead. Let's wait a little bit. No. Ma big dekuna mechaprim av misas shet tzadikim chaperes. The big dekuna we learned in Yuma. Where do we learn it? That the bells on the bottom, and that's this week's parasha. The big dekuna. This is this week's parasha. Forgot to mention yesterday when I was showing the picture upside down, inside out. That's from this week's parasha. Buy that art scroll safer. It's beautiful. It's on this week's parasha. All the begodim how it's done. Fine. Plug for them. No, Hakar Satayv. They let me use the safer. Hakar Satayv. It's very good stuff. So, what makes noise? Lashon Hara is a noisy avera. So the bells of the Kohen Gadol's begodim, they are mechaper on Lashon Hara, etc., etc. We're talking about kares now. Kares, as we're going to see, is from the age, somebody dies from the age of 50 to 60 is kares. But there's more. If a person dies from the age for 60 to 80, let's say, but suddenly, that's also kares. Meis pitoim, suddenly, zui miso chatufa. Art scroll translates it abrupt. Let's say he was sick for only 1 day. Zui miso dechufa. Hasten. Now you're going to ask me what the difference is between chatufa and dechufa. I don't know. You know who else doesn't know? Tosfos. I don't know. No, but what is the difference in the translation? What is the difference? A guy died immediately and a guy died a day later. What is the difference between the two in terms of how you view them? They're both hastened. You want to call it hasted? It's just another word in the dictionary.
It's like the
But are you right? That's great. That is the nafkimina. But why? But in the word, and what is the chuva?
No.
Okay, I hear.
It's like the description of the amens in Maseches Brachos. Like when you give an amen, a short amen, a quick amen.
I like Nachman's pshat actually. The chuva means to push, and there's a little bit time to push. Chatuf is like to grab. Okay. There's always a question. It's not a really, to me, it's not such a question, but there's a question. What's better? For somebody to get killed in a car crash or to die from cancer over a month or two? What's better? The cancer is very, very painful and slow. What? Asking the Shiva. Right. I was asking the Shiva, and that's why I'm asking the question here. Thank you very much. So did you appreciate the fact that your mother died from slow death? But I think the answer is slow. Even though it's painful, at least you have time to do tshuva, you have time to do things and take care of business. That's my answer. If somebody has a different way to, I know in terms of pain, boom, great. But we're not here for pain and painless. It's about fixing what we need to fix. These are all terrible stuff. Chatufa, dechufa, it's kares, it's death, untimely death. Reb Chananya ben Gamliel oimer zui mises magefa. Not true. One day is more of a plague. Shenemar ben Adam hinin lekech mimcha esmach madenecha b'magefa. We're talking about again when HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Chizkiah, he told him. Yeah, it was Chizkiah. Who's the Percha Chavash Alecha? Chizkiah. So Yecheskel. Sorry, Yecheskel. Yeah, Yecheskel. Thank you. Just testing you. So he said, I'm going to take your wife. What happened? I'm going to take her in a magefa. And what happened? She was gone within a day. So you see, that's Mrs. Magefa. Shnei Yomim, a person was sick for 2 days. Zui Misas Dechuya. It's a hurried one, but you have more time. Dachui, it's pushed off. Shloisha, Ga'ara, it's Musar, rebuke. Arba, Mizifa, to get scorned. Chamisha Zui Misas Kol Adam. It's normal to be sick for 5 days and then pass away. Or Elchanan, Mikra. Rabbi said, I know it's hard sugis to hear and hard sugis to learn, but it's part of Torah, and this is what we do. And like I said, when we started the sugi, Be'ez Hashem, if we learn this, and we learn it well, we should be zoich not to die from kares, be able to do. A lot of people are chayve kares bizmanenu. There's different averes to chayve kares, but you can do tshuva. This tshuva, no problem. Everything has tshuva. Hein karvu yomecha lamos. Hein chad karvu trey yomecha trey. So together equals ha chamsha. It's 5. Hein chad. Why is the word hein 1? Shekain b'loshin yivani in Greek. Karen la'achas hein. And we know we have a big connection to Greek when it came to the Sefer Torah and everything. Meis b'chamishim shana zoy mises kares. From 50, and as the Gemara is going to say it then, let's just say it now. From 50 to 60 is kares. The Gemara says 50 to be nice and not, there shouldn't be any rumors on Shmuel. Chamishim v'shtayim shana zui misasai shel Shmuel haramasi. Where do we learn about Shmuel not wanting to die at his age and even dying earlier? Not to see his Talmud Shol die. Which Masechta Rabbi say? Very good. Tainus. No? Nobody's taking tests here. Zichru? What does Zichru say? Okay. Zui Misa. Okay. Shmuel. Shishim. Zui Misa b'dei Shamayim. Somebody dies at the age of 60 is Misa b'dei Shamayim. Misa b'dei Shamayim is very similar to Kares. Oh my gosh, we gotta move here. Wow. I'm not even going to finish the Masechta tomorrow. Zui Misa b'dei Shamayim. Misa b'dei Shamayim is similar to Kares. Kares, however, is a little worse. It takes away children and other things. What do you get Misa b'dei Shamayim for? If you look at Shari Tshuva, a whole list of things, but one of them that really struck me is stealing from an ani. Stealing from a poor person. How do you steal from a poor person? Not literally going over him and stealing from him. By not giving him tzedakah when he's your relative or somebody that you have to give tzedakah to, is stealing from an ani. Misa b'dei Shamayim. Omar Zutra Maikra. D'chsiv tovei v'chelech elei kever. You should die at a mature age. Elei, come to the grave. V'chelech b'gemat yishitim avo. That's 60. Shivim seva. When the person reaches 70, he's old. Shmoinim gvurois. He gets strength. Okay. D'chsiv Yimei shnei seinu b'em shim shana v'migvuri shmonim shama. Omer Rabba mechamishim v'at shishim shana zui mises kares. So that's the end of the story. From 50 to 60 or 59 and the last day is kares. So why does it only say 50? Don't say 60. Mishum k'vaydish shmuel aramasi. Rabbi Yosef ki have a bar shitin. When Rabbi Yosef was 60 years old, avadu yom tov l'rabbanan, he made a birthday party. Omar nafkili mekares. I survived kares. He made a birthday party. Where do we see this idea of birthday party? Paroi. Question. That means Paroi was born. He had a birthday party, but Paroi was God. He was. How could he be born? What do you see from here? That everybody celebrates birthdays, even if it's against your hashkafa. Zamti Gemara. Amalei Abaya. Nihid nafak leimar mikar is very good. You made it to 60. The shnei to the years. Mikar is the yom minaf gemar. At the end of the day, people die suddenly. And even if you're 65 and you die suddenly, that's also kares. Okay, so I made a party for half of it. I'm done with the years. The days we'll deal with. Ravuna died suddenly. He was already over 80 years old. They said, oh, maybe he got kares. But if a person have a mises neshika, so to speak. Obviously, we only have 6 people that died of mises neshika, but it's a beautiful death. Someone that's over 80 and doesn't wake up in the morning, beautiful. Omar Rava, Chaye Bonim Zanu, we'd sing the song. Chaye Bonim Zanu. These 3 things. To have a long life, longevity. To have sons, kids, and parnasa is b'mazel. Now you have to understand the whole sugya. The bottom line is, even if we have the whole machlokes that we had, if Klal Yisrael has mazel, doesn't have mazel, but even if you hold that Klal Yisrael has mazel, you can manipulate the mazel through tefillah and chesed, doing the right thing. Ma'asim tov. Rav Chizda says the Gemara, both of them. Tarvai Rabbanan Tzaddiku have the Gdol Adar. Mar Matzli Vasim Mitru, Mar Matzli Vasim Mitru. They both have the power to daven and bring rain. Rav Chizda Chaya Tisha V'Tartin Shnin. Rav Chizda lived 92 years. Rabba Chaya Arbaim. Only 40 years for Rabba. Bei Rav Chizda Shitin Ilulei. He saw 60 weddings of his children and his grandchildren. Bei Rabba Shitin Tichlei. He had 60 funerals. Bei Rav Chizda Smidel Kal Beveleit Midbei. He had the best bread made out of the finest flour, and he gave it to the dogs. The dogs wouldn't even eat it. Bei Rabba Nahama the Sarlin Shivalim Shtakach. He couldn't even find bread for human beings made out of barley. That's how poor he was. But they're both tzaddikim. Mazel. These are the 3 things I asked as Rava from Akash Baruch Hu. Tarti Yavali, Chadali Yavali. They gave me 2 out of 3. Chuchma said the Rav Huna. I wanted to be as smart as Rav Huna. V'udrei the Rav Chizda and the wealth of Rav Chizda. V'yavali. Those 2 they gave me. And Vesunu said the Rabbi Rav Huna Yavali. They didn't give me the anava of Rabbi Rav Huna. Look in the Marsha. He says, but anava is in your hands, not in Shemaim. He says everything's b'dei Shemaim to a point. You ask that Hashem should help you, even when it comes to, but you have to do it yourself, but you need a little help from Hashem. Says the Gemara, Rav Sa'irim, there's a person, Rav Sa'irim, there's another place that there's a story about him, spelled with a samach. Achu the Rava have a Yosef Kamei the Rava. Rava was dying, so his brother came to visit him. He saw that Rava is about to die. Rava tells his brother, Rav Sa'irim, please daven for me, don't daven. Talk right now to the Menachem Mendel. Tell him, don't give me tsar when he takes my neshama. You're best friends with him. What do you need me? Once we're at this point where it's all over, I don't have that power anymore. I'll do it. I'll talk to the Menachem Mendel on one condition. You come to me afterwards after death and tell me how it was. He came to him. You have any pain? I have a picture here of Rivda the Chusilta, Aryeh Simmons. He sent a picture a long time ago of him letting blood, actually donating blood and doing whatever he had to do, but I thought it's a good picture because he's learning Torah while he's doing it. That's how painful death is for Rava, that is. Says the Gemara, the same exact story, but it happened with Rava. Rava wasn't dying, Rava was the Talmud here. Rava Rav Nachman, he saw Rav Nachman going to the next world. The Rav Nachman tells Rava, talk to the Menachem Mendel, tell him not to give me tsar. Aren't you chashuv? Man chashuv, nobody's chashuv here. Man sofim, man rikin, nobody's great over here. I'll do it on condition that Rebbe, you come to me in Cholim. Ischazeli came to him. How was it? It's like taking out a hair from milk. We'll stop here. Rabbi Isai, have a wonderful day.